Welcome to That Digital Take. I'm your host, Tori Webster. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. It's going to be like riding a bike today. This is our first episode back since my summer hiatus. I hope everyone had a fantastic summer, and I'm so excited to be firmly in fall now. A very exciting and fun season of renewal and new vibes and good energy. Today, we are kicking off TIFF week, and I have a pimple the size of whatever the largest planet is. I wish I had that information. Jupiter, Mars, not sure, on my cheek. And that's always the way it goes. Red carpets, glamour, big weeks. And my face goes, we're going to give you a beautiful pimple. So thank you so much. If you're watching in 4K, tune in to see that. If not, you're just listening and I'm saving you the visual. And 6K, sorry, I always say 4K. We're shooting in 6K, so you really can see the breakouts. Anyways, all that to say, I'm very excited to be kicking off a very fun week of TIFF. I love this time of year. You guys know this. It's like Toronto really feels alive. It really is probably the most glamorous week in Toronto. There's not really another event that kind of comes to Toronto or happens where Hollywood elites really show up, or we have the same access to red carpets and press days and kind of all of that fun, buzzy energy. So I'm really quite excited for that. And I feel like this year I'm in the right headspace. Like I said, I took some time in August to kind of truly enjoy summer, like lean out, as they say. And now I'm leaning back in, and we're just gonna go balls to the walls and like have a little fun. So yeah, I thought today we could kind of chat a little bit about the behind the scenes of that, and that's going to be kind of be the topic of the week, so I will get into that shortly and a little bit later. But to kick off, I thought it would be worth mentioning what I've been up to the last couple months, because this, like I said, is our first solo episode back. So, like I said, this week is going to be cuckoo crazy with TIFF. Then I jump to New York for the Video Music Awards, and it'll be a weekend spent in New York. And I went to these last year, but not in a formal capacity. This year, I will be doing coverage on the red carpet, and I'm excited about that. I also think it'll be very interesting to experience TIFF this week and like the Toronto version of that, and then go directly to New York and experience the New York version, because, I mean, we've talked about this, but like the US they just really do it right, and there's a certain level of, prestige in the US. So I'm really curious to kind of, clock those moments, see how that feels on both carpets, and kind of compare and contrast them, as they say. But yeah, some personal notes, some things I've been up to. Okay, one noteworthy thing, my birthday. I would be remiss if I do not speak about the infamous Torcella, which you guys always hear about. So I had a very successful Italian Riviera-inspired celebration this year. I had a sit-down dinner with 25 friends and family, and the venue was iconic. It was 1147 Ristorante, if you are in Toronto. It's at Davenport and Avenue Road, I want to say. Now, this place is brand new. It was very like serendipitous how we got connected, because they actually reached out to just do like an influencer tasting. They were having some influencers in for a luncheon. And I said, oh, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm not around because I was traveling so much in August, but I said, however, I am looking for a venue to host an intimate 25-person birthday party. Any chance you're available? And then turns out they were closed on Tuesdays, which was the perfect timing because I wanted to celebrate on my real birthday. So they were able to rent the venue out to me and allow me to have kind of this private event because they weren't open to the public on that day. So it turned into just a really fabulous evening. Italian Riviera inspired, as I mentioned. So we did an all-white party. The Aperol spritzes were flowing. The champagne was flowing. The vibes were really just fantastic. And I think I say this a lot about my birthday, but also just in August. And I know everyone has like they have a different version of what deems a new year. Like a lot of people have been joking this week that like September 1st is like the start of the new year. It just feels fresh and new. And I do tend to measure my years in birthdays. And again, August is close to September, so that could also be the reason. But I do kind of like, give a little block at the end of a year at my birthday celebration and kind of do some reflections and like things that went well that year, things that I could change and improve on in the next year. So I find it a very exciting time for manifestation and kind of what's coming next. So yeah, I really kind of leaned into that this year and just truly enjoyed the presence of my friends and family and And I know I've told this story about how Torcella was born under the fact that I'm a workaholic. So in true spirit this year, I did remove myself from working on my birthday. Thank God. I hired a photographer. I hired a videographer. They did all the work for me. And I truly just sat back and relaxed and enjoyed the ride and all the company around me. So yeah, very, very successful August. And then what else did I get up to? I went on a Disney press trip, which is always fun and always re-inspires me. It sparks new ideas. It sparks creativity, and Disney is just a magical place for that. And obviously those trips never get old. We kind of get it behind the scenes. I've talked about them before in the pod, but like you get it behind the scenes of kind of what's happening at Disney, what's new and upcoming. This was like a play and preview event. So very much kind of introducing what's coming down the pipeline in 2026 at Disney World in Florida. But yeah, just like a very fun-filled summer, man. Like I love how I was like, yeah, I'm going to go away and take a break and then be back refreshed. I don't know if I'm back refreshed. I don't know if I took a break actually at all. But I did get busy in other ways, and I think that sometimes you need to live life to find copy to move forward. And yeah, everything is copy. So now we're back with the pod. And another thing I wanted to say because of that is I hope that you guys have liked the direction that we've been taking since the pod has returned. With our first episode back, we chatted with the cast of Wednesday, which I thought was a really fun chat and super exciting and very insightful. I think all of the actors were really present during the interview, and some of the comments on the YouTube video have been really nice and just saying like, oh wow, I haven't seen, these artists talk about things in this way before. And I think sometimes being able to sit down with actors, especially with my perspective, which I think sometimes I don't realize how unique my perspective is because I obviously came from an acting background. I now kind of live and breathe the entertainment world and digital media. So I do think, and not to be like, my questions are better than other questions. I don't think that at all. I just think sometimes when interviewers have a different perspective, they can get different things out of talent. So I'm glad that that's being recognized in that interview and that it's resonating with people. So yeah, if you haven't, go check out that interview. It's kind of a shorter one because we didn't get a ton of time with the cast, which again is very normal with these like kind of Netflix interview sessions. I get a very limited time with the talent, but with the time we did avail of, I think that it was really engaging and fun. So hope you enjoyed that. And then the next guest that we had on, which was last week's episode, which if you haven't checked out, I really recommend checking out, was with Paige Evans. And I loved that conversation sorry. See, this is what I mean about riding a bike. I have to catch my own words. I'm almost chatting faster than my brain will allow me to speak. So Paige Evans was fantastic. And again, I don't know if I'm just leaning into like loving chatting with actors now or feeling like this podcast is like almost niching down a bit and becoming more about like entertainment and acting or just like media. I think the reason that I ended up calling the podcast That Digital Take, which I think I've told you guys, is like I really wanted it to feel all encompassing and that I wasn't pigeonholing myself, let alone the listener. Like if you are intrigued in any of the parts of the industry, like I want this to be a resource and a place of value. So I just feel like that's maybe starting to really resonate, which I appreciate. And I think time is a wonderful thing in that way because, we can really start to hone in on the future of the pod and all of the good things, So I'm feeling really, really good about that. What else? Yeah, like summer was really fulfilling, but I do have to say that I think in fall I feel more, I don't want to say motivated, but something about the change of the seasons. And also I'm having a bit of a lifestyle change right now. I was just telling my producer James that my partner, my boyfriend, he just booked a movie, which is like so exciting. And you guys and we've talked about like this is like the nature of the biz and like this is the way things go. And you just kind of have to be really nimble when you're self-employed and especially when you work in a creative space. And he found out really quickly that he was going to be picking up and moving to British Columbia for a couple of months, which is super exciting. And again, anyone that's been in a long-term relationship or really just any relationship, also this is kind of funny because I've never really talked too much about my private life or like my relationship too much on here, but I love dating shows and people that talk about it. So I may as well give you some of this insight. So my partner and I have been together 10 years if you're unaware, but basically because he's going off to film, I'm now going to be in the house alone for the next couple of months. And selfishly, I was like, wait, like there's something about productivity and like me being alone that I feel go hand in hand. Like when nobody is, and again, like this is not to say that my boyfriend is a distraction at all, but it's like, it's way easier to like wake up and be like, hey, here's my to-do list. Here's how I'm going to execute. And especially in my line of work, like I need like quiet on set, meaning like when I'm even filming TikToks, like it needs to be, like, quiet in the house, and, like, when I'm doing voiceovers, it needs to be quiet, and when I'm, on calls, it's kind of like I require, like, a different level of production and or studio and or life when I'm a creator versus, like, someone that, yeah, might just be taking, like, meetings all day. So, it is just kind of funny to imagine, like, now I'm just gonna have this kind of studio space, which is my house, but, like, set up kinda like a studio, my studio space to kinda create content over the next few months, and there is just this yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling inspired. I'm like, "Okay, it's gonna be, like, quiet, I can do all these things, I have all these ideas," and again, I don't know if it's fall, I don't know if it's that I'm just trying to distract myself because my partner's gonna be gone or what, but I do feel excited about the prospect of everyone's calling it the great lock-in, of 2025, I guess, because it's the burr months. Like, I think I've been on TikTok too much recently, like, I'm in, like, a like, I'm like, am I saying full sentences? I don't know, the burr months, like, September, October, November, December? Oh, no, I think it's burr because it's, like, that's the end of the months, like, September. Anyway, so, yeah, we're heading into the burr months, and I'm feeling inspired to really, I don't know, lock in for the end of the year, and the exciting thing about the final quarter, like, this is when I become, like, the business person, like, we got the last quarter to get through. The exciting thing is, like, the hard part's done, like, in my opinion. These are, like, the months to throw shit at the wall, see what sticks. Like, you've kind of fulfilled your bread and butter up into this point, or at least I feel like I have in a really good way. Like, I've checked off so much off my list. I feel very fulfilled by the projects that I've taken on this year, and especially all the red carpet stuff that I've been doing, and really kind of growing my business in that way has been so exciting. So now I'm like, this quarter feels like a bonus. Like, let's see what we can do. And you almost like can be more fearless. I find in January, we like, as much as I get excited and it's all the manifestations and all that good stuff, there is this sense of like, oh my God, we really don't know what's going to happen next. Like, what is the future of this industry? Like, there is like an inherent fear always in that self-employed energy. But, like, by the time September rolls around, it's like, okay, like, we got a hang of this. Like, we've got the flow. Like, we kind of know what's happening. And yeah, so I think I'm going to, like, take some risks and see how that goes over the next couple of months in more ways than one. And I'm just really, really pumped for that. So hopefully this inspires you to also, jump off a cliff and do something exciting and, jazz it up a little bit. Like, life needs to be more fun. So speaking of unpredictability and events and all that's up to come, I wanted the topic of the week today to kind of cover that. So this week I figured we would chat about the gamble of red carpet culture. Now, this obviously came up because we've been talking a lot about TIFF. I'm doing the VMAs. We've got a lot coming up, but I also think this is interesting from any perspective, whether you're wanting to be in the entertainment industry or not. Or even if you're just in media, there's an unpredictability of big events, like I mentioned. Like, when you go to do an interview, you're not guaranteed anything. Like, you're not guaranteed coverage. You're not guaranteed a viral clip. You're really not guaranteed shit all, to be completely real. And in media, they call these earned opportunities, which essentially means like they're not paying you to give you access to these events. They're not like there's no like exchange in true value other than the sense that you're being granted access. And this is a very common theme, I would say, in Hollywood, and then also during these weeks in Toronto, like TIFF, because really it's about the media companies trying to get coverage. Like, that is kind of, if I were to like create a thesis, like that is kind of what they're after. They're trying to be creating buzz about an indie film. They're trying to get excitement around an unknown project. And then it becomes my job as a creator and as an influencer to kind of step in and kind of put their project on, the minds of consumers. And so all of this to say, I feel like we really have to bet on ourselves because, like I said, I'm not like being paid to show up anywhere. This is like me using my time and my craft and my content to basically, put someone else's work on a pedestal. So two things, like one, this is exciting. There is a thrill of not knowing what will land. But then secondly, this is also like a major gamble, in my opinion. And this is kind of what I want to chat about today. So even if I am there and even if I am on these TIFF red carpets, I am not guaranteed, like I said, shit all, basically. Like, I have to fight tooth and nail to get someone excited enough to stop and chat with me on the carpet, to make sure that like I'm set up properly, that like if talent does stop, that I can actually capture a moment. And as we know, sometimes the very best moments happen with the most unexpected guests, not even necessarily the headliners. And not even to throw Miku like into this, but you guys loved the Miku Martino episode that we did with the pod, and not to be like, oh, that was a gamble having her on the podcast, but like I genuinely sort of took that on as a favor because I'm like great friends with some of the team at Netflix. I wasn't familiar with her work or like, her portfolio. And that's not to say I didn't have like immense respect for meeting her, because I absolutely did. But I guess my point is like, there is always a gamble. Like I didn't know that episode was going to be the one that was just going to absolutely hit the algorithm and take off. And so I think that that's really important for us as creators to also acknowledge, which is like, we might sit around and wait for like, oh, that star isn't big enough, I don't want to chat with them. It's like, okay, well, you actually don't know what moment is going to hit. And I think it's worth taking the risk. And on top of that is you can prep all day. You can prep your questions, you can prep your camera, you can prep your sound. But the key moments, they might be 20 seconds. They might be 30 seconds. They might be a minute if you're lucky. But really, it comes down to like one sharp question or one really specific viral soundbite that can ultimately change everything and change it all and change the trajectory of the content. And on top of that gamble, which is like me and my time investment, there's also another gamble, which is you never know at all which clip is going to resonate like with my own personal audiences. So like I find this very interesting. Like I could have a really polished red carpet moment, and I've had them in the past, and they just don't perform well for whatever reason. But then you could flip it on its head and be like, I have this really messy, like behind the scenes blooper. Like, for example, this week I'm going to have maybe an opportunity to chat with Channing Tatum. It's like, am I going to get a full moment with him? What is that going to look like? Or is it just going to be the snappy moment of him walking the carpet and that's going to go viral? Like, we really don't know. And that nature of the business, like, legitimately kills me. I'm like, the fact that there is no guarantee to anything is slightly annoying as someone that likes to bet on, analytics and data and hopefully like having something hit. But again, this is the nature of it. And we just have to be comfortable with the fact that things are always changing and we are risk takers. So now I'm also kind of trying to shift my own behavior and be like, all right, virality often favors the authenticity and those moments of just like, versus the actual red carpet moments of glamour. So just a reframe for me as a whole. And then on the other side of this, when it comes to talent and films, I do feel like we're also betting on breakout projects that might go global. Like there is a chance, especially with TIFF and the way that everything kind of happens around the promo of these movies is like, and this is no knock against TIFF, but like, I don't really know anything about most of the movies that are premiering this week, in the sense of like, they're not household names. Like these are more like indie films or things. They're movies that are like up and coming. And so again, for creators, I really am betting on my time, my own energy, my own resources, like paying my own camera people to like come out and support me and help me on finding, the space where we might actually find success and actually make content that will resonate with audiences. So it just is really a gamble. Like I thought this was an interesting topic because I'm sure people are curious also about like the red carpet of it all. Then on top of all of this, we also have balancing, I mean, this is again like maybe the selfish approach, but like I'm also then balancing exhaustion of like what this actually means this week, because my schedule is truly nuts. It's like I wrap somewhere at 3 and then I've got to be on another carpet at 3:30 and then I've got a movie premiere and then I have to be at the after party. And a lot of it is, in fairness, like a see and be seen mentality. Like I do think it's important in these moments to step into the light and be available to network and to meet people in the city, because like I said, these moments don't happen as much in Toronto, so I think taking advantage of them is important. And then I also think, and again, not to poo-poo the performance of movies in Canada, but I do think part of this, you guys aren't going to love this, but is a little bit of like smoke and mirrors. Like you just kind of have to appear like you are a part of it and appear like you are showing up in the ways that matter at TIFF in order to get future opportunities. And that's just like kind of candid. And that's my perspective. And I don't know if you like hearing that or if that makes me feel like sort of shitty, but I feel like that is the truth. Like I don't know if TIFF is necessarily on the same global scale as like, let's say, an LA like Hollywood premiere, but I do think that it is important to, like I said, see and be seen, play the game a little bit. And let's be honest, this whole entertainment industry is a bit of a game. Not me in such a bad mood today. I'm being a little bit pessimistic, sorry guys. But I think it's just because I'm a realist and I'm exposed to this industry at a level where it's like I really can see the transactions behind the scenes. And don't get me wrong, like I am so excited for this week, but ultimately at the end of the day, I can see the benefit of where it makes sense for me to spend my time and then where it doesn't. So I think just like time and being in this industry for over 10 years has given me that gift of like really being able to hone in on like the payoff and like finding those moments that are going to be unforgettable versus just kind of like flailing and like RSVPing to every single event, which by the way, like is also bad. Like too much of anything makes the price go down. Like you do have to have enough respect for yourself to like say no to certain RSVPs and like be very careful about like your selections. And anyways, now I'm just kind of giving you the behind the scenes of like how I select my life this week, but I don't know if that's exciting or not to hear. So also, I did want to add on top of this, like this is not just a red carpet thing, and that's why I did want to tackle this today. I do feel like anyone in a creative lane understands that idea of like betting on themselves. And yeah, just to like expand on that a little bit more, there are things that I invest in this week that for me are worth it. So like for me, I will have like camera teams with me this week. And like, that's my own personal investment that like I bring people along with me to like help capture content and bring that to life. Because ultimately at the end of the day, like I can't be the talent, I can't be on screen and then also managing all of the behind the scenes. It's just a little bit too much. Second to that is like glam teams. Like, I mean, especially with this pimple and whatever is happening on my face, like I will be hiring makeup teams this week for like all of the red carpet premieres and all of that good stuff. And then wardrobe, actually, this was interesting because normally I would be like go back and find the episode about how I spend money just to make content, or spend money on outfits just to make content rather. And TIFF is no exception. I mean, like these are the moments where like I feel like my personality shines. I'm like, yo, I need a dress, I need a look. Like, and again, I use that as a way to express myself and to again, for me, it's like brand building. I feel like I'm all over the place in this episode, but hopefully it's all coming to make sense. So the foundation of the clothing for me is very brand building. And what I mean by that is like when a brand sees me in a certain look or in a certain aesthetic on a red carpet, brands can't envision something until they see it done. So when they see me like that, they can have that association of like, oh, okay, like she really like dresses up for the occasion, is like ready to chat with talent, very like, you know, A-list ready, like all of that is encompassed in the brand building. So for me, paying for outfits and investing in fashion and investing in glam, investing in crew, like that is a big part of my future success. And so like, I also think it's so exciting to like support other young creatives or just any creatives that you love and bring people on board to work with that, you know, are great collaborators. And so the glam and the crew and all that is no exception to that. But the fashion piece I thought was interesting this time around because I was invited to a Campari event. Campari, I think, is like one of the main sponsors of TIFF this year, which is also interesting because I don't think in years past they've been very involved, but it seems like they're kind of going to be heading up a lot of the big events and a lot of the big parties. And they invited me to do a walk of a red carpet. And they said, hey, you know, we'd love to send you to this boutique in Yorkville. And it's called Mine and Yours. And they do consignment shopping. And they were like, go to Mine and Yours and do a pull so that you can wear one of their gowns on the red carpet. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Because like, again, for me, like I would invest whatever it might be, like $500, call it, on like a beautiful gown to wear on a red carpet. You only wear it once. And you're either, consigning it or you're, you know, giving it to a friend or whatever it might be. Like it can be very difficult in this line of work to wear something multiple times because like I said, it's sort of brand building. I'm capturing these moments in time, and not to be like, I can't rewear looks on a red carpet, but it's just like, I don't want to, not to be a diva. Maybe I will in the future, but right now I'm excited by fashion and using it as a way to express myself. So all that to say, very long-winded way to say I was very excited to make a pull. Anyways, I got to chatting with the owner and I try on one of the dresses that I'm going to be wearing on the red carpet on Friday. Fantastic. It's like this vintage retrofit, like stunning, beautiful moment. And he said, hey, like if you have any other TIFF or red carpet events, please let me know because I always just do loans in exchange for, content. And I was like, okay, well, this is the thing, like, and just transparently, like, stylists are very expensive. Like, if you've ever inquired about like working with a stylist, sometimes it can be upwards of like $2,000 just for one look. And you don't get to keep that look. Like, you pay them $2,000, they source a look for you, you wear it, and then you return it to them. So it is kind of like also an investment. And I obviously have so much respect for stylists, but it's just like, I don't think that I'm at a place where I want to be spending $2,000 to like loan something. So anyways, I just thought that was incredible. He was like, oh, you could loan out different dresses. So in the end, he actually ended up giving me another dress for another TIFF red carpet and then a look for the Video Music Awards this weekend. And I think they're all pretty iconic looks. So stay tuned on my Instagram for those. But yeah, I just thought, again, that that's a very interesting piece of this that a lot of people don't talk about. Like, there is a lot of self-investment that happens when we're just trying to get like social media cut downs. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, what I'm looking for is to get like, Snapchat videos and YouTube shorts and TikTok virality. And when you say it like that, it seems so flippant. But then when you think about it 360 and like what I'm going to have to like go through this week to try to like make that happen on a smaller scale is just, it's very interesting. And again, just like so much respect, not to be like so much respect for creators, but again, like I just feel like nobody values at the level like of how much energy and output we really put into things to make it all look simple and seamless. Like, if it really comes down to it, the people that are doing it well, it should look like my job is easy. And I think for the most part, people would look at me and say that. Like, they'd be like, oh, like she's got the best job. It's like, okay, like, yeah, you try, you do it. And I know I've said it before, but I do mean that. Like, I think there's a lot of hard skills and soft skills that end up becoming built over the years that really end up, allowing people to thrive and find success in this business. So anyways, all that to say, very pumped. I'm in for a doozy of a week, and next week I'll come back with a report. Like, let's see maybe I do like a back end. Maybe this is an interesting next episode. Maybe we do like a back end analytics kind of like episode about like my wrap up report of the exciting like media week that I'm going to have, and see how much work I can get done with my partner gone and how many hits I can have on the internet. So, pardon? Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't make my partner nameless. Sweet Adam, you can give him a follow on Instagram too. Adam Madrick. Actually, he's more respected in this industry than I am. Most people at TIFF, I'm going to walk around this week and they're going to be like, oh my God, where's Adam? You guys know this, but he's a cinematographer and obviously is off to shoot a very beautiful movie. So clearly TIFF week is his week. He actually is very sad to be missing this. So I'm just going to be the media darling running around town getting what I can get on site. And, just really taking advantage of all of these celebrities that are in town, which is my honest truth this week. So anyways, I hope this is interesting. I think people always love the behind the scenes because as much as it seems like everyday nature to me, I know that this is kind of the cool, exciting stuff that people are curious about, or if you want to get into this world and you're curious about it. I guess the last thing that I would cover after mentioning that is you might be wondering how people get access to the carpets. So one thing on that is it's normally the larger conglomerate companies that have positions on the carpets that end up granting you that access. So it could be like an Elevation Pictures, a Paramount, a Netflix, a Snapchat, a TikTok. Like a lot of the larger platforms and or media companies end up with red carpet access to these events. So I mean, like everything in this industry, build enough time and enough relationships, people will consider you for those experiences. But yeah, just in case you were curious about like how people actually end up on the carpet, that is how it ends up usually coming invites directly through those companies. So I'll leave you with this last question to the audience. Since this was an episode about taking risks and kind of diving into the fall head first, when was the last time you took a gamble on yourself? And did it pay off? Will mine pay off? This is something we will cover next week. Will my investments pay off next week? And maybe we all need to take a little fun and a little risky moment into fall 2025. All right, I'll leave you with that. I love you. Mean it. No, I didn't even remember my last quote. See, it's like riding a bike, but I'm bad today. I love you. Mean it. See you in the next episode. Share this with a friend and check out all of the interviews if you haven't seen them yet. Okay, love you. Bye.